I bow to God. I bow to all the divine incarnations. I bow to all the masters of all times and all places. I bow to my beloved Gurudev. I bow to entire creation, including all of you. Good afternoon. When I came to Australia, it was quite sunshine and bright. Even at night, beautiful stars. But it didn't stay too long. Then it started raining. I came here 2 days ago. It was good. Yesterday, beautiful sunshine. Last night, I was hearing from my room the raindrops. Then I thought, oh God, again the rain is here. I stayed in India for more than 4 months, not a single drop of rain. No rain at all. Rain is good to know. Plants are happy. It cleans the environment. We get fresh air. There were 2 sisters. One was married to a potter making clay pots. The other was married to a farmer. So both are praying to God, oh God. One is praying to God, let there be sun. Because if there will be sun, the clay pots can be nicely dried. It is good for our business. The other sister is praying to God, oh God, let there be rain. Rain is good for my farm. If there will be rain, plants will grow better. Can you imagine what God would do? And both are praying to God, and their interest is contradictory. So, what God did, God said, okay, I'll fulfill your wish. I will rain in the night time, and there will be sunshine in the daytime. So, both will be benefited. There will be rain and there will be sun. The purpose of telling this creation is a beautiful creation. Unfortunately, we the human beings, out of our greed or desire to have more, there is no end to our desire and there is no end to human exploitation. In ancient time, the rate of exploitment was more on the plants and animals, including the humans also. Human beings exploited human beings. In the past, human beings were considered as, you know what? Don't take it as a criticism, but it happened unfortunately. Human beings were considered as animals. People considered human beings just like cattle or horses. Buy and sell. God, unfortunate. When I was a schoolboy, at our home, I was born in a family with love. Although they were not so highly educated, but we had storehouse of books, many books and interesting books. My mother read up to class 3, just having knowledge of how to read and write, that's all. No knowledge of English. But she was such a well-read person, unbelievable, and her memory was very unique. I read a book not only once, many times during my school days. It is not a small size book, it is quite thick. It was Odia translation of an English novel. I think it is American lady who wrote, I don't remember her name, Uncle Tom's Cabin. I don't know how many of you have read it or heard about it. Every time I read, I cried. It was very, very painful. I have not read the original English one, although once I got it, it must be somewhere, but the Odia version I read it many times during my school days. Human beings created human discrimination. Human discrimination, men and women. Human discrimination, rich and poor. Human discrimination in color of the skin, and so on. In one way, we are in a better age or better time when that type of discrimination is reduced to a great extent, although not completely, but it is not as it was a century ago or little before. To eliminate this discrimination, there has been a lot of sacrifice. This morning I was writing. So while I was writing, a thought of Sri Gurudev came about the human being. Suppose you don't know me, I don't know you, for example. And I have not opened my mouth. Just I am coming to a hall and you all are sitting here looking at this person. Each person will create one type of idea, his or her own personal assessment or idea about the person. He must be like this, he must be like that, he must be. So, imaginations. So long as one is not opening the mouth. Once one opens the mouth, through the words, the person gives more identity of himself or herself. A person is very well dressed. Even opens the mouth. It happened near our village little more than a century ago, or almost 100 years ago. There was some theft case in the village. The police came, investigated, and the police wrote some report and wanted few witnesses. One person was there, was speaking very fluent English, and from his accent, for example, if I speak, you can know, oh, he had some Indian accent. He's from the village from Odisha, and his accent was quite British. The police officer was very respectful to him and wanted to be a witness for his investigation. He said, sorry, I don't know how to put my signature. The police officer thought he is making joke. Sir, don't cut joke with me. Please put your signature. He said, I don't know how to put my signature. I can put my, in old times when people didn't know their signature, they put their thumb impressions. And in modern times also, I don't know here in New Zealand you do it or not. In some countries like USA also, there is fingerprint. So I have heard that these fingerprints are so unique. The facial appearance might change, but not the fingerprint. My fingerprint will not tell with my brothers or sisters or mother or father. It is one and unique. It is interesting in God's creation. So he wanted to put his thumb impression. The police officer wanted to know, you speak so beautiful English, but you don't know how to read and write. He said, I work in Kolkata and with a British official. He was a cook. And people from Odisha were going, and they were famous in few works in Kolkata because of job. One is cooking. I have learned the language only through hearing. And that's all. The purpose of telling, even only by hearing the assessment or judgment, it will not be from dress or from face, from language, it will not be enough. If we live with a person little longer, you will know the person better. Once you live with the person, you will know the real nature. Because many times it happens with our words, appearance, we pose ourselves something, but in course of time, we expose ourselves which might be completely different. What we thought of, it may not be that. That is why the spiritual masters say that if you want to know a person, live with him or her a little longer. And Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, if you want to accept anyone as a guru or guide, live with him or her day and night. Because in the daytime he might look one, at night time he might appear different. So day and night. However, we are in this world what to do. In this present time, our exploitation has shifted from human to nature mode. Why I am talking of nature? With sophisticated machines and technology, we are exploiting the Mother Earth, the environment, to the maximum. As a result, there is so much of increase in pollution and our, I don't know, this external way of exploitation or getting more. How far it will go? And the rishis of ancient time, they explored within more. And the scientists or intellectuals of modern times during last few centuries, they are trying to explore outside more. The earth, the space, and so on. And inner exploration gave peace, contentment. Outer exploration led to, more exploitation, discontentment, and increased desire and more and more and more. I was thinking, when I was a child growing up in the village, no electricity. I grew up till my completing high school, no power, no electricity. So no running water. And people lived in the village very joyfully and content. I go to the same village. I was few weeks ago, not even 1 month. I was in the same village. The village which had a countable 3 or 4 bicycles in my school days. Now they have few motor cars. Mud road. Now there is motorable road. No electricity, there is electricity. And so on. But on the other hand, I saw there is unhappiness, increased unhappiness. And then. This time, for the first time, after nearly 47 years, I walked with one friend of mine just few weeks ago, with whom I grew up from my childhood, completing high school, but he he was busy in his life, job and his career, and now he's retired and I am in another direction. So we met, we were walking on the same, not the same road, but the road in the village together. And he came to the village, for example, after within these 48 years or 47 years of passing the high school, 46, 47 years. He has come only, you can count with fingers how many times he has come, not more than 5 to 8 times maximum. Although a monk, I have visited the village more. Many people in the village could not recognize him, including my younger brother. I told, who is he? He looked at him, he couldn't recognize. Both of them could not recognize each other. So, this has happened. What has happened again within this age, our relationship, human or personal relationship, is getting thinner and thinner. Although the means of communication have, exploded like anything. You can communicate with anybody whom you knew long ago. You can find the person through electronic media. But where is personal relationship? It is really unfortunate. Wife and husband sitting in the same house, not talking with each other, texting each other. It has happened. We do not talk, we sit there, we do not look at each other, we stay with our own mind, imagination, own world. And what is happening now, when I'm traveling more and going to different places, our younger generation, children, many places, they are so much confused. And in many ways, I feel a good deal of negligence in some way. It is really sad. People have become mad after money and other things than human relationship, human-God relationship. What happened during last few centuries, especially in the West, it happened. I'll tell one incident. Quite some time ago, I was in our ashram in Holland for a program like this. So, in ashram, 10 days program. And just to tell you, in our 2 ashrams in Europe, mostly are Europeans, very, very few Indians. Good attendance, but mostly Europeans. I found one Indian gentleman just from distance, then he came close to me, bowed down to me, and then he introduced himself. I do not hesitate to tell what he said. He spoke, he's from South India and from the same place of Acharya Shankara, Kaladi in Kerala, speaking Sanskrit fluently. He is a Catholic priest and he has come to the program, and he's a priest from India, is working in Vatican, and Vatican has designated him to study that what is the cause, why people are going away from church in West. What is the cause? So he told very frankly, that's the purpose for which I was also happy, okay, let him study what he wants to study. The thing is, it is true, during last few centuries, with industrial evolution, scientific inventions, and there was a good deal of conflict between religion and science in European thinking or Western thinking. As a result, people gradually turned away from church and God. I'll give an example. Once I was in London, not once, quite a few times, I also gave talk in that place. That is the place where Gandhi, as a student in law in London, he was going to pray. It was a church. And if I tell you a funny incident, what happened in the life of Gandhi, Gandhi was very regular visitor and very punctual and honest to himself. He was young. At that time, he was not Gandhi as we think. The priest of that church, seeing this Indian young man coming regularly, became friend with him. And sometimes he invited him to his home to have a cup of tea. The son of this little son of this father, a priest, told his father, this Indian man is very friendly, very nice person. He said, yes, he's very nice, he's very regular and seems to be very sincere. Then he said, which religion is he? The boy is asking. Oh, he's from India, he must be Hindu. There are good people, Hindus? This little boy asked. He's such a good person. He said, yes, why can't we all be Hindus? That little boy asked. Then the priest is telling the father, I am inviting him to convince and then to convert him to become a Christian. He said, why to convert him? It is better for us to be converted. That was the conversation between the father and the son. And again to tell you, when Gandhi went to South Africa, an Anglican priest who loved Gandhi and Gandhi's ideology or his way of working, and he left his church and followed him to India with him. He lived in India and spent a good time in Odisha also. His name is C.F. Andrew. And very kind-hearted man. The purpose of telling this story, I forgot. The same church which Gandhi was going to pray, later on was for sale, and one organization from India, those who are from India, they might have heard about this organization, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. It is not religious, it is cultural social organization founded by K.M. Munshi. And it has become an auditorium and the branch of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London. So the church is converted into an auditorium. That's all. The purpose of telling this, people turning their mind from God, what happened? There is a great deal of vacuum. Because if there is anything happening to me, for example, I go to my friend or go to my parents to tell them, do you know, this thing happened. Little children, we ran to them. And the parents with patience listening to the children and talking, and the parents were the first counselor to tell the children, this, don't be upset. Anyhow, in their own way, they try to soothe the child. In the same way, people turn to God. Even if God, in different culture and different religious practices, have their own idea of God or the own way to pray, but there is someone with whom I can talk, I can pray. So this thing got reduced. And what happened? The mind needs engagement. Mind needs to communicate. So the mind wanted to communicate with whom nowadays? And you just think, in human relationship also, many times because of lack of, especially at present, lack of, that integrity in human beings. There is what we appear that we are not. We are more paper tigers than real tigers.